Welcome to Grit to Glow, the podcast for moms, entrepreneurs, and women ready to step into their power. I'm Naomi, your host, mama, business coach, and unapologetic go-getter. Here, we're keeping it real. We will dive into the unfiltered heart of motherhood, entrepreneurship, and some of life's messiest moments. Because let's face it, growth doesn't happen without the grit. But the glow, that, my friends, is the magic that we create. You can expect tangible life and business support, juicy insights, and the raw truth about what it really takes to build the life and the business of your dreams. So, let's get glowing. Hey there, and welcome back to Grit to Glow. I'm Naomi, business coach, mom of two, and fellow fearless dream chaser. Well, maybe not fearless, because if there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's that fear never really goes away. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. Fear. How do we show up and take action even when fear is sitting right there with us? If you've ever struggled with fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of being judged, or fear of not being good enough, this episode is for you. In today's conversation, I really want to take you through the journey of how to feel the fear and do it anyways. The truth is, fear will always show up when you're stepping into the next level of yourself. It is not a sign to stop. It's actually a sign that you're on to something even bigger. And by the end of today, I want you to walk away with practical tools to work with fear, build courage, and keep moving toward the life and the business you know you're meant for. So here's what I want for you. Today, I want you to walk away knowing that you are capable of showing up fully, even when it feels hard, even when it's scary. I'll be sharing a bit of my own story and some key takeaways to help you guys feel the fear, but not let it run the show. Because trust me, bold action and courage are exactly what you need to create the life and the business of your dreams. So I want to get started by saying, let's get real about fear. This is part of the process of life, entrepreneur, and you name it, you guys. No matter what stage of the business or life you're in, fear is something that we experience, but it's also not something we ever outgrow. And so I want to normalize that. Fear is something we learn to navigate. One of the things that I've learned is that fear loves to disguise itself. So it might show up as procrastination, perfectionism, or I'm not ready yet. Sound familiar? So you can tell yourself, oh, I'll launch this when the timing is better, or I'll post my content when I have the perfect caption. But here's the truth. Waiting until fear disappears will only keep you stuck. And guess what? Fear is totally normal. It's your brain's way of trying to protect you from the unknown. But it's only a problem if we judge it, resist it, or let it control our decisions on a day-to-day basis. So when you stop seeing fear as a bad thing, it actually loses its power over you. So I want to encourage you to reframe your fear as a sign of growth. Fear shows up when you are about to have a level up. I have felt this in every step of the way of my entrepreneurial journey, from starting my business to posting my first reel about my business, to raising my prices, to pitching myself to dream clients. Each time I felt like I was going to throw up. And that is how I knew I was actually moving in the right direction. So think about it. If you weren't pushed beyond your comfort zone, the fear wouldn't even be there. So it's not a red flag. It's actually more like a green light telling you to go. You know that saying, everything you want is on the other side of fear? It's actually the truth. And every time you move through that fear, you're growing, not just in your business, but as a person. So let's talk about the importance of messy, imperfect action. Too many of us wait for things to feel right before we actually move. And we think we need to have the perfect strategy, the perfect post, or the perfect launch. But guess what? The only way that you build momentum is to start moving, messy, imperfect, and all. I remember launching my first high ticket offer and feeling absolutely terrified that nobody would sign up. But I did it anyways. And you know what? The first few times weren't perfect. The first time I launched, I only had a few people enroll, but I had a few people enroll. And I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone and gone for it anyway. The action itself created clarity and confidence for me, knowing, and I started to see what worked, what didn't, and was able to actually refine the process as I went versus just staying stuck. The key is this: clarity comes from action, not thought. So the more you move, the more you'll learn, and then the less scary it becomes. So I want to encourage you to build your courage muscle. Courage isn't something you're born with. It's something you build like a muscle. So every time you show up and take action despite your fear, you're actually strengthening that muscle. And over time, you become more comfortable being uncomfortable. So the things that once felt super terrifying, like hitting post on social media on a vulnerable caption, or pitching yourself for an opportunity that might not feel as close to home as what you've done in the past, it becomes second nature. Now, I'm not saying fear goes away, but what I am saying is you learn to act with it, not against it. Courage is the ability to say, I see you, fear, but I'm going to move for it anyways. And the more that you do that, I promise you, the easier it gets. So I want to share a personal story here. Back in August, I decided to stop playing small. I knew that I had been holding back, posting content, but not really owning it. I had these dreams of growing my income, and I was doing that, but part of me was still afraid of being too much or not being enough. Maybe this is something that you can resonate with. Maybe it sounds familiar. One day, I actually took a step back and I made a choice. I made the choice that I was going to show up as the one, even if it didn't feel real yet. I was going to show up as the leader, the expert, the person my dream clients needed, because I deep down knew that that's who I was. And so I stopped questioning myself, stopped playing small, stopped playing it safe, and started moving like the woman I knew that I was meant to be. And let me tell you, when I made this shift in my business, it exploded. In just 30 days, I was able to double my income, and I've continued to see it grow since, because I took the step to step into being the one, to build my courage muscle, take imperfect, messy action, and believe that showing up in my courage and without letting the fear consume me, and it was everything. It changed everything for me. So here's the lesson. The difference between you staying stuck and breaking through is not always in your strategy. Most of the time, it's in your belief. You have to believe that you are the one before anyone else does, and show up as such. Because fear will always be there, but ultimately so will your dreams, and the choice is yours. So I have to ask, are you going to continue to let fear stop you? Or are you going to take bold, imperfect actions every single day towards the life and the business that you know you were meant for? I want to say thanks for tuning in today. If this episode hit home for you, I would love to hear about the next bold move you're making. Please feel free to DM me on Instagram and let me know. And if you found value in this episode, share it with a friend who needs this message. Remember, courage is a muscle, so let's keep building it together. Stay tuned for the next episode of Grit to Glow, where we'll come back next week and dive into balancing ambition with rest. Because building your dream business should not come at the expense of your peace. Until next time, keep showing up and turning grit into glow. Bye, you guys. Thank you for joining me for an incredible episode of Grit to Glow. If today's episode spoke to your heart or sparked an idea, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Be sure to screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Naomi Firm. I always love connecting with you guys, so don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a moment. And if you feel called to it, please leave a review to help more women like you find our show. Remember, the glow up is yours for the taking, so keep going, and I will see you in the next episode.